Hello, the album is finally out today, so I thought I'd give some information about each track on the album, going in order. Track number 1, This Is Where It Begins. The main riff in this song is influenced by metal bands like Funeral for a Friend and Sixth, and is originally a two-handed tapping riff, not played with a pick on the guitar. It's just both hands of my fingers smashing down on the chords and lead parts at the same time, just like playing on piano. I know someone will probably ask, so I will do a playthrough on the guitar of that at some point soon. Didn't end up as a heavy metal song, as you probably realise after listening to it. Track number 2 is The Death of Summer. I love summer and I'm always mortified when it finishes. I hate going into winter. I wrote this at that kind of juncture last year. I wanted a beatbox style beat at the beginning. In my head it sounded different. This version came out way better. It's a bit junglish for those beats. I love doing the harmonies synth, and the vocals are me, just heavily modified and manipulated. Track number 3, Solus, so that's Latin for alone. This is the first song I wrote for the album and it was inspired by my best friend. We spent the day together, had a lovely walk and talk and some food, and I went straight home and fired up my computer and wrote this. It was originally called Sadness, as my mental health was pretty poor at the time, but the song ended up as the first single. Jake and Hayley were amazing in the video. I love you guys. One of the funnest days I've ever had shooting a video, that's a fact. Thank you, Jake and Hayley. Are you down? I nearly binned this one off. It wasn't working for ages, but this just kind of came together all of a sudden. Thank you, Peter, so much for being in the video. You're a fantastic actor. It is a bit of classic drum and bass. Track number 5 is Anxious. People have told me this is their favourite tune on the album, but also that it does the opposite of make them anxious. But if you listen really carefully, there is an evil sound, atmospheric sound that runs through the track. You have to listen really carefully, but it is in there. Again, reflected by mental health at the time. Music really can be therapy. It's a vibe. This is my favourite song on the record. It was inspired by my friend Beth, who came over while I was recording it. She said, "Oh, this is a vibe." This was also written on guitar at the beginning. The final version is in a very different key. I also couldn't decide on the key, and that took ages. Ghosted. This started with that dirty bass groove, went for something a bit trancey in the chorus. Been described to me as an always outnumbered, never outgunned era Prodigy track, and that's fairly accurate, I guess. Thank you for that, James. Black Hole. I saw somewhere this was described as a speed garage track. I can't remember where I read that. Probably Google or something. So I'll take that. I was aiming for a drum and bass jungle kind of thing. You have to have spacey themes in dance music, don't you? I love how filthy it sounds in the verses. I like the fact it changes gears a few times in the drums. Grace, named after Ryland Grace from Project Hail Mary. I imagine this being on his headphones while spacewalking. You know that scene, if you've seen the movie, with all the pink. I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not even going to tell you what that scene is about. I love Ryan Gosling. That gave it its name, which is named after him. My buddy John, he called this breakbeat fun, so I don't really need to say anything else, do I? Fade away. I was in a really dark place when I wrote these words. It's about wanting to just fade out of you, but being okay with that. Music is a great expression and a good way to vent, but you've got to talk things out with someone when you're struggling. I learnt this the hard way. Please look after yourselves, people, and talk to someone if you're struggling. 10 out of 10 bleed out spot. Rest now, hero. You've done all you can. Stop and let it all go. If you've seen Blade Runner 2049, you know how it ends in the snow. Swan Song. This was the second song I wrote for the album, and I knew instantly it was going to be the final track. It was the hardest one to get right out of all of the songs. Even the mix was hard. The idea was to have a song remix itself halfway through, so change into something different. If you listen to the song, you know it starts very different to how it finishes. It does change halfway through. It also slowly morphs into the same riff or the same part as the first song on the record, the riff from This Is Where It Begins. So you leave the album in the same way that you started, on the same notes, which is a descending riff, which is E minor, D, C and B minor, I believe, if I can remember right. I probably got that wrong. It became obvious that the song should finish where the album started because it was the last track. There's also a hidden sample right at the end of the song that not a single person has picked up on yet or commented on. Thank you if you listened all the way through to this. You're now in the MT Club, which I think I've just stolen from How Ridiculous with their 44 Club, but they're amazing as well, so I'm going to take that. But yeah, if you listened all the way through, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the album as much as I love putting it together. Thank you and take care.